Hey guys, it's Saturday, July 7th, and here in beautiful Reno, Nevada, it's hot. And you guys always ask me, well, how hot was it? It's freaking hot, okay? Sitting here melting, so I don't know how much we'll do tonight, but thought I'd make a little quick video here. We've been working along on some of our parts and pieces for our Subaru engine, so we're going to continue with that. Here we've got the bell housing cleaned and ready to go on. I call it a bell housing. It's more actually it's the engine backplate. You'll see here that it actually houses the rear crankshaft seal or rear main seal, if you will. So we can call it an engine backplate for sure. It goes on the back of our block halves, but as you can see, it's actually the bell housing as well. So we got that cleaned and ready to go on, and that basically just goes on with some gray sealer on the back here, torques onto the back of the thing. We've got our valve covers cleaned and ready to go on. We've got our oil pan is clean, got a little fresh paint on it, ready to go. Our water pump's ready to go. And what we're going to take a few minutes here and look at is this little thing. This is our oil pump. These cars use an external pump. This bolts onto the front of the engine, and it's actually goes right here. The pump is direct driven by the camshaft. The end of the cam is right there, so very positive drive. Our water pump goes here. I've already put this plug in here, and this plug in here as well. These are the plugs that cover the holes that we accessed our wrist pins through for the number 1 and the number 2 cylinders. This one here, very, very important that it's adequately sealed and tightened properly, because if you have a leak here, you're going to be mixing oil and water. The water of the pump is right here, and of course, the oil from the crankcase is right on the other side. So you want to make sure that that's sealed up good. Now, the oil pumps on these are very, very susceptible to leaks. It's a very common leakage point on these cars. And as you can see, right here there's an O-ring. There's also a small O-ring that goes here. And one of the things that people do is they'll pull these off. They'll either get a new pump, or they'll, which is most times unnecessary, or more often than not, they'll take them off and they'll change this O-ring, and they'll change this O-ring to fix their leak, and they'll put it back on, and believe it or not, it still leaks. So we're going to take a few minutes and I'll show you why that is. Like I say, it's kind of common, and other pumps for the Subaru product line are similar, and they're a little different, but they're kind of similar at the same time. So I'm going to get you guys up on the stand, and we'll take a look at our Subaru oil pump. Okay, so what we have here in our pump is basically the pump is in 2 pieces, because of course it's what I call a gear pump. It's got a set of gears in there that roll together and create pressure. But what you have here is there's a back plate, this plate right here. So what you can do is take, see, a lot of times these little plates are loose. There's 2 little screws that go in here, that loosen up, and as you saw, it was no effort at all to remove those screws. So they weren't very tight. This engine, before we did take it out of the car, was just, I mean, there was oil everywhere. It was covered. Major leaker. So this cover pulls off. There's two little dowel pins here on the inside here. Yeah, see, that's an O-ring right there. Hard as a rock, broken half when we took it out. Goes under this spring here. There's another O-ring here. Of course, this one and the small one. So it's like a double set of O-rings from what we saw on the other side. This O-ring here. Yeah, it's petrified. These things are, I mean, I could snap that right in half easily. So those two little O-rings right there is a very, very common thing that you find that, you know, I mean, this car is a 1988, so what, 88, 2008, it's what, 24 years old? Now inside this little hole here is this little check ball, and this little check ball goes on the end of the spring that we took out, like so. You don't want to lose any of these pieces. You definitely need to put them back. And your actual pump rotors is here. Take this little dude off here. That's the side. That's the, you know, 1/2 of your oil pump, if you will. This here is your second half. Subaru does a little different, you know, but it's kind of a similar design to other manufacturers as well. It's basically, you know, this is how your pump works. Your one goes inside and it rotates around like that. As it does, as it spins at a high rate of speed, it does two things. And number one, it's compressing oil and pushing it out as it goes around, and at the same time behind it, it's creating a vacuum which draws the oil up from the oil pan. Very, very simple device. They work great. Quite often, never a problem. The only ones I've really seen fail are ones that had extremely contaminated oil pass through them, and they would mark up the inside of that. But as you can see, these here, I mean, this car's got 100 and, oh gosh, I think it's like 150,000 on it, and they're still a mirror finish. I mean, they're perfectly fine. But the pump was a leaker. So I'm going to go and find my gasket kit and get new gaskets for this, and I'll show you how to put it back together. Very simple, basically just reverse what we just did. Make sure everything's clean. Follow our theme here, internal engine. We want everything spotless. So okay, let me find a couple things and we'll put those in. Alright, so got some parts and pieces here, and we're going to put our pump parts back in here. Now, one of the things that we want to do as we're doing this, excuse me, I'm probably right in the middle of the thing, is we want to put some oil in our pieces as we put them in. Got to remember, oil is your friend. We're not going to put a lot of oil in here, and the reason for that is until we actually get the pump bolted onto the engine, essentially a lot of oil would just run out of this. So we're not going to get too carried away with that. Right now we're just going to put a little bit on there. Everything's oiled up so it has some lubrication as it spins. When we get the engine in the car, we're going to prime it, and we will pre-lube this. So before we actually fire it, it'll be lubricated and ready to go. Now, here we have our new large O-ring. We're going to put, I'm going to put some petroleum jelly on it. I'm a big fan of lubricating rubber seals and O-rings. With all this stuff here, as been said before, there's different ways to do things. This is just the way I do it. So, take that for what it's worth. In my methodology here, methods if you will, I've had very, very few problems, and I've done hundreds of these. So, put our small one there. We'll take our top plate, which is very, very clean once again, just like everything else. Drop it down over. Make sure it's on our two dowels. Put it down like that. Okay, now, next thing, whoops, we almost made a fatal error. What did we forget? The ball and the spring. We would have been taking this apart again. So keep that in mind. Okay. Now we're back where we were. Alright. So now, as I was starting to say, what we're going to maybe get out now is some thread locker. A couple different ways of looking at this. I use this blue on these. The blue thread locker is service removable for small to medium sized hardware. This right here. Why I use service removable when my other alternative would be the red thread locker, which is pretty much a permanent thread lock, is down the road I may want to do this again, and I have seen instances where if you get really aggressive with the permanent thread lock and then you go to take it apart again, you have issues. So put two of the screws in there with that, and there is a tightening torque for that, but I'll be honest with you, just take your screwdriver, tighten them up. Get them as tight as you can. I don't think you can over torque them and break them because the little head of the screws starts to give out. And then we have a new O-ring here. Once again, put a little bit of petroleum jelly on that, lube it up, and another little O-ring here that goes here. Now, as I kind of said in a previous video, when we were kind of starting to talk about putting this together, I obtained a gasket kit, and then when it goes on, this gasket goes on there, like well. So basically, our pump at this point is ready to install. In a previous video, when we were talking about this, one of the things that I did mention is that I tend to buy my gasket kits from a company called Ishini, and Ishini was the OEM manufacturer for gaskets and seals for this engine for Fuji Heavy Industry when it was produced new. Working at dealership level, when you got a master gasket kit from the parts room, it was an Ishini kit. Today they seem to be packaged under the Stone label, Stone Auto Parts. They still come out of Japan. One of the reasons that I do get those master kits is they include all these O-rings and so forth that go in here. If you get a gasket kit from, I'm not picking on anybody, but like Felpro or one of those type of companies, you get all your gaskets and stuff, but you won't have the O-rings that go inside this pump. It's just one of the things that's a little bit different. And as you saw, I think it's pretty important to change these O-rings. Look at that. This thing is just petrified. So we've got new ones in. Our pump's ready to install. Installation's pretty straightforward. It just bolts in, and so forth, as is the rest of our parts here. So I'm going to put those in off camera. I'm not going to spend a lot of time filming that. It's pretty basic. Put the bolts in, tighten them up with the gaskets, and you're good. And I think next time we get into this, what we're going to look at the next time is our cylinder heads. And we have yet to pull our cylinder heads apart and take a look and see what we've got there. They are cleaned on the outside, but we got to pop the valves out and check them over. We'll check the guides and seats, and definitely do some new valve seals and get those ready to go on. So that's about it. On another note here, as we come back, we're gonna I'd like to say a couple things to my friend VW Darren. I'm sorry to hear that you're going to have to go through what you're going to have to go through. It'll be fine. It's it is an ordeal. It will be fine. And with you cutting back on the videos and stuff like that is totally understandable. You have to do what's right for Darren and your family. Everything after that, kind of comes second. But I just want you to know that we're thinking of you. We're behind you, and anything that you need, let us know. You've inspired me to do this video thing. Watching you on videos, it's like, what, maybe I can make some videos too. So you're the guy. So wish you the best of luck with all that, and as always, we're here. Anything comes up, like I say, we're on the other side of the country, but we're still thinking of you. So that being said, I don't have it out here today. Little mail call today. I did receive the new YouTube Garage Gang t-shirt. Thank you, Andrea, Darren. Appreciate that a lot. Love it. Great shirt. A lot of names on the back of that shirt. The Garage Gang getting some numbers. That's cool. So, all right, guys. That's what I got, I guess, for tonight. And I'll upload this for you and get back inside with the air conditioning. This heat, I just don't do well in this heat, so we'll wait until it cools off maybe a little bit, and we'll keep going on this. One of the things that we haven't talked about, and I've kind of decided on this particular engine, I'm only going to put it together. I'm not going to put the intake manifold on, and I'll stick it back in the car. And the reason for that is I'm going to convert this from the Hitachi 2-barrel carburetor that is on it now to Subaru throttle body fuel injection. Be electronic fuel injection, computer controlled. So we're going to be converting the car over. I've got to go search out some parts, harnesses, and so forth at the salvage yard, and gather up some stuff there. And I think, and the reasoning for that, the carburetor for this car actually didn't run too bad. Seeing it had, basically 3 cylinders. The reasoning for switching it over is this is going to be kind of a, it's a driver, but also we kind of looking forward to getting out and maybe doing a little exploring with it, getting up in the woods and some of the desert trails and stuff like that. And the fuel injection is a lot more consistent. You don't have to worry about if you're tipped sideways, you're tipped up, you're tipped down. You don't have to worry about fuel slosh in the bowl, anything like that. It runs the same no matter what you do. So that's one of the things, and it is a lot more efficient. The car should get better fuel economy with that on there, and you know what? It's kind of a cool conversion. So looking forward to doing it. So that's what we got planned for that. Of course, we still, like I say, hopefully we won't find any surprises in our heads, and we'll get this together and get it back in the car and start working on that, the fuel injection part. So that'd be kind of cool. So I guess that's about it. So until the next time, see ya.